Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. On the podcast, we'll talk to experts on everything from Thomasville history and events to daily operations and city business, all while having some fun in the process.
Welcome to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. I am Austin Reeves, and I'm so glad y'all are with us and joining us on today's episode. We got a little bit different one today. I'm really excited about it, Ricky. I'm still just super excited about your Chamber of Commerce Man of the Year and this life of celebrity that you're now living. I've got some ideas for you. You know, we got to take a profit off of this new fame, notoriety.
You gonna be my NIL manager?
That's right. Well, here, most celebrities will have their own, adult beverage endorsement. They're kind of known for almost every celebrity has a, either they make a wine or they, one of those types of things.
I'll just take a bar tab at some of my friendly establishments in the area. So
yeah,
just kind of waiting for that. Hey,
You've been waiting for that.
This one's on the house.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking, Zambrano Zinfandel.
That sounds like infidel.
Yeah.
I don't know that we want to go
Is that what the wine or Zima Zambrano?
Zima.
Yeah.
Come on, I haven't had Zima like in 50 years.
Yeah. Like you
They
get
even
some
sell
of the naming
Zimas
rights.
anymore?
They do. It just came back out.
Did they? Okay. All right.
Throw a lifesaver in there.
All right. All kidding aside, we just got through with the Black History Parade and celebration. We're kind of getting a little serious here, but that's always a fun event, and it takes a lot of Team Thomasville to pull that one off. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, including what our police department does. Yeah,
and that leads us right into first and foremost, a big thanks to everybody that helps put that event together. Once again, that united force of Team Thomasville that, whether it's from solid waste, electric, CNS, fire, and then obviously our friends that we have here with the Thomasville Police Department. So I think that leads us right into getting into the segment. What do you think?
All right, let's get into it.
All right, so we've got with us Captain Kim Dyke and Sergeant Chris Baggett of the Thomasville Police Department. Thank you for joining us today. It's a joy to have you guys here. And again, as we talked pre-show, this segment is Austin's idea. So for those of you listening, if you thought we were going to get into a true crime podcast, you might want to click back onto the one that you've been listening, because this one's produced by Austin, and I don't think it's going to be the same category. So, but
I was trying to get us a true crime podcast. Get the word out for our police department.
We'll see if we can add in the music and kind of at least make it sound like it, right? At least at the start. So,
what about unsolved mysteries?
Yeah,
Our cases we haven't solved.
Speaking of 1980, 1990s, here we go, unsolved mysteries.
Yeah. Everybody loves that theme song.
To this day, that theme song spooks me out. I ain't gonna lie. I wonder if they made up half that stuff or whatever. I don't even know, but it still gives me the heebie-jeebies.
So as we kick things off, Captain Dyke, again, thanks for being here with us. How long have you been a part of the TPD?
I've been in Thomasville Police for 19 years.
19 years. Sergeant Baggett?
I've been with the department 17 years.
So it's a little bit of experience, huh? Don't you think?
That's right. That's right. So both of you guys are part of the CID, so Criminal Investigation Division.
Ching, ching. So we have like a little, like every time we say that, so there'd be like a sound effect.
Exactly. What's the role of CID, Kim?
The role in CID is, what we do is we take cases that patrol initially will respond to, and our role is to, especially the felonies, we'll go further with it and do a more detailed investigation, because we have the time on our side to be able to investigate the cases.
Sure. Chris, you have more you want to add to that?
So the role of CID is we generally work the felonies that come through the department. A lot of times patrol is out responding to calls and they don't have as much time to dedicate to a case. So we detectives are able to do that. We work as a team. When it comes to bigger cases, we start to have a lot of frauds in Thomasville. kind of nationwide problem. So we're able to do the paperwork, write search warrants and subpoenas and things like that, and further investigate.
And just as a little follow up there, Sergeant Baggett, how long have you been a part of CID?
I've been a part of CID since 2018, so 8 years.
Cool. All right. So let's shift over here to Captain Dyke here a little bit. What type of specialized training is required of a CID team?
There's a lot. We work such a vast variety of cases. We work child crime, so we all have specialized training for that. We have one detective that's dedicated to working them cases. They get basic criminal investigation. They get CVSA, which is the voice stress test that we do. They get background because they assist with backgrounds, and they get interviews and interrogations. And if you have a niche of what you want to do in investigations, because we do a lot, they actually get CSI training. So if our CSI is out, they're able to process their own scenes. So we're constantly training. We have gang specialists, so we have people that are trained in the gang. Baggett's our specialist for that. He's our gang expert. We have the vice unit that falls under us, so we do the drugs and the guns. So we have a lot of training. We're constantly training.
And just as a little, just expanding a little bit, by background, you mean internal within the organization, or is that also backgrounds externally for outside organizations?
We have done both. Most of it is for internal, for the organization. We'll do the background investigation, especially if it's a specialized field like police, where it has to be more thorough. But there are some agencies that will get with us and ask us to assist with the background.
And then one more backup, one more follow-up question here for Sergeant Baggett. There's kind of a myth sometimes, and or misconception, however you want to phrase it. Do we have a gang problem in the local area?
Yes, sir. So my response to that question every time I'm asked is every town in America has a gang problem. All it takes is one gang member to be in your community, and it's going to cause an issue because they're going to commit crime. So yes, Thomasville does have a gang problem, just like every other town. A lot of times people don't want to admit it, but it's out there, and they're committing crimes. They're breaking in the cars, breaking in the houses, stealing guns, and it's just something that we have to deal with. So I go to a lot of specialized training each year for gang investigations. Gang investigations can get a lot more detailed than a regular investigation, because not only do I have to prove they committed the crime, I also have to prove that they're part of the gang. And then I have to prove that the crime that they committed is to benefit the gang. So there's a little bit more process in a gang investigation than a regular criminal investigation.
Right. And then one last follow-up to Captain. When it comes to CID, we don't hire someone and their first position is in CID.
No.
Okay.
No, you have to start out everybody has to start out on the road first. And you need to gain that experience, gain that relationships, especially if you're going to come into the vice unit or CID, because them relationships you build, them stakeholders in the community, are the ones that actually help you solve cases.
Yeah, that's great. Well, let's kind of get into it a little bit in terms of, down to the specifics of some of the techniques or strategies that are used during investigations.
So techniques can kind of vary. One of the biggest things in CID is your person skills, your people skills. Not only being able to talk to people, but also being able to read someone. Whether it's speaking with a victim, a witness, or the suspect. You got to realize the type of person that you're dealing with, type of personality they have. And that goes all the way down into interviews and things like that. So your people skills, you really have to be real high on those to be in CID. And kind of going back to the other question about, do you come straight into CID? No, because you need those life experiences. You need the experience on the road, whatever experience you have before you become a cop. All those can help you with your people skills and how you talk and how you relate to people. Because in CID, it's basically, you ever put a big puzzle together?
I've tried. I've tried.
Well, imagine putting a big puzzle together and every piece is the same color.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing you can really go on is the shape of the puzzle.
Yeah.
That's basically what happens in CID. You're trying to put a big puzzle together. So you have to be real detail oriented and use your people skills to get a little bit of information out of someone, and you use your life experiences. But then again, you have to not judge. You have to be real open-minded in
it's
criminal
kind of
investigations.
Yeah, I guess maybe the fascinating part about what you guys do is like you can't assume, but you do have to use like high level people skills, but be open minded at the same time. Tell me about that. I mean, that's hard.
Yeah, so
right?
it is hard. It can be difficult. Say you're working a sexual assault case. So working a sexual assault case, you're dealing with the victim and then the suspect. So with the victim, you have to have empathy for them because they just dealt with a life-altering experience. So you're going to be real careful with them. We're dealing with the suspect. Depending on the suspect's personality, you can't just go in there and judge them. You want to. Trust me, you want to.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Especially after you've dealt with the victim, you want to go in there and judge them, but you can't because they can read that all over you. It's like reading an open book. They'll know you're judging them. And if you do that, you're not going to accomplish your one job. Your one job is to get justice for the victim. And that leads to a couple other things. If we're able to prove that case, make that case, and convict that individual, not only we get justice for the victim, we get them off the street and keep them from victimizing someone else.
And I'm sure if you get into the judging department, that can lead to errors.
Yes.
That can lead to a lack of a conviction or anything along those lines because you're just over emotional or anything like that, of just, thinking that this is rock solid, this and that, and you've got to line everything up for when it goes to court, correct?
Yes.
That's one of the hardest things is learning that skill. That's a skill to be able to leave your emotions at the door, leave your biases, because you have a suspect there, but you have a victim and you feel for that victim. But when you walk in that room, you have to leave all that aside. And you have to, sometimes you have to be their best friend knowing they've committed a crime just to get them to open up and build that rapport with you to talk about what happened.
Yeah. Tell me, I guess maybe just me being curious of like being a police officer. I guess you guys can see through the lies quite easily in other people. So how does that play out in your real life? Sort of, kind of. To me, that's just kind of funny. All the police officers I've been around, always kind of like, well, what do you think about this guy or this guy? It's your job to kind of cut through the mess. So how does it play out in your life? Are you kind of, I don't know. I'm just curious.
So I've been told by my family that I'm a human lie detector. I don't necessarily see that, but that's what they tell me all the time.
Do you beep?
No, but usually I kind of do in my private life what I do at work is I may know somebody's lying, but I'm not going to call them out on it. I may have a suspect in an interview room, and I know they're lying. I already have the proof that they're lying. I may have them on video, may have physical evidence at the scene. I already know they're lying. I'm not going to call them out on it until it actually benefits the case. And it may benefit the case for me not to call them out on it. Because that's almost as good as a confession, is if I have physical evidence that they were there, or I have them on video and they're in the interview room lying to me, that's almost as good as a confession when we go to court. Because how can you deny it?
Yeah.
You sat there and blatantly lied to me, even though I gave you all the opportunity to be truthful and told you that's all I needed you to do was be truthful.
It's kind of that we listen and we don't judge. We're listening, but we're judging without talking.
That's right.
And my kids will be the first one to tell you that, Mom, stop talking to me like I'm a suspect. Because I interrogate them the same way. I'm
so where were you? Like, yeah.
But I do have an advantage to that because they're like, I just got to tell you the truth, Mom. Because they know I'm going to keep on them until they, so I get that a lot from my family is stop talking to me like I'm a criminal.
So speaking of CID, obviously continue a conversation, and And Captain, I think this one's good for you since you recently transitioned into CID. Talk about the relationship between CID and patrol and other divisions and how that kind of works out.
The way it starts, any case starts, is 99% of the time it's a dispatch call to the officer. The officer will respond to the scene. They'll do a preliminary investigation. Once they do that investigation, if it turns out that it's more something that it could be an aggravated assault, where they contact us and we'll respond to the scene. But you'll have cases like the fraud and things like that we won't respond to, but they will assign it to investigations. And then we, myself or Sergeant Baggett, will assign it to a detective to work, or we'll work it ourselves depending on the caseload. And once it gets and they will come back and ask and want to follow up on the case, and patrol gets just invested in it, and they want to work it, and we're really trying to work with them and letting them get more into the investigative side of it to better their skills. And then it goes, we kind of push it in the direction it needs to go, and all the way to the end till it gets to the court.
Chris, tell me about some of the big challenges that CID faces on a daily basis.
Probably the biggest challenge we face on a daily basis is actual cooperation. Sometimes getting victims to cooperate. Sometimes they don't consider themselves an actual victim. Or maybe it might be someone actually close to them that committed the crime. Either it be a loved one or a family member or something like that. So they can be a little uncooperative at times. And then trying to get witnesses to cooperate, especially when we have a major scene. Some people are scared to actually cooperate. They think there might be some retaliation. Like I talked about gangs earlier, you got a lot of people in the community that they may know about it, or they may have seen something, but they don't really want to cooperate because they actually fear those individuals. They think there'll be retaliation, and they just want to stay out of it.
What's it like when, is like in the movies when you're in the investigation room, or, in the interrogation room, and is that spotlight really that bright and that?
No. So the interview room, that's my favorite part of CID. That is, I love that room. I change when I walk into that room. So the room, there's not a spotlight hanging right above the table. Matter of fact, the table is
not like all dark and only the white spotlight.
No, not like that. It's a well lit room. It is very plain. There's nothing on the walls.
Do you have a walk-in? You have like a walk-in song, like when you walk in the room, like kind of like.
No. There's no walk-in. There's no walk-in song. Generally, in the room, there's one table, but it's not going to be between me and the suspect. I don't want anything between me and the suspect. The table's up against the wall, and then there's just a couple of chairs. There's nothing on the walls. There's no windows. There's no distractions in that 8-foot by 8-foot room. Just the detective and the suspect. And again, that's where a lot of the people skills come in. Learning how to read who you're talking to, what type of person they are, whether they're extrovert or introvert, whether they're type A personality, whether you need to talk to them like they're your best friend or they're the type where they need to be confronted. You have to determine all that in, I won't say a short amount of time. You want to take as much time as you have to in the interview room. But no, it's not like the movies. There's not a little light that you can grab and shine over in their face or anything like that.
But we do work well together in that sense, as we, just like the movies, there is a good cop and a bad cop. There's some that build that relationship, and if I'm failing, we all work with each other to say, okay, why don't you go in and give it a shot? Some people don't like females. If it's a crime where they're being accused of sexual assault, they don't want to talk to a female because they don't see us, as serious. So we'll take turns. I like to do the ones where there's kids because I put on the mama hat and I go in there and talk to them like a mama. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's smart. It's interesting. Like I never thought about how much psychology goes into it, but there's a lot of deep stuff.
And that teamwork element, obviously. So
yeah.
So as we talk about continuing to talk about cases a little bit, what's the average number that we kind of face in the community that CID works with?
Last year, we just did our annual report. Last year, CID worked 885 cases that were assigned to us.
Give us an example of a case, Chris, and both of you guys can chime in on this. And again, police officers always win in story time. They always have the funniest stories or cool stories or interesting things. So, what were maybe a case you were surprised how easy the evidence was, or clues that led back to a person of interest, or some of that?
All right, so we all remember the snowstorm we had a while back, where
The one in this January? Like, a flurry and everybody
no,
went
no,
crazy.
not this January.
No, last January.
Yeah,
Oh, the real snow.
the real snowstorm.
Yes.
So we had a young man go out that night and decide to break into cars. Well, I guess he wasn't thinking too well, so that deep snow, you could follow his footprints all the way back to his house from the cars that he had broken into. I mean, nobody was out.
Multiple cars.
Yeah, multiple cars. Nobody's out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, especially in that snow, hardly. I mean, you couldn't even drive on the roadways, really. And each car just led back to a certain line of footprints, led right back to the house. We actually nicknamed that case Footprints in the Snow. So that was
That's pretty awesome.
pretty easy case to make.
Yeah. Somebody was
like a poem.
someone was like, I'm Sherlock Holmes. Look at me. I saw this.
You don't have to go far.
Yes, right. That's
The
right.
question is, does someone really take credit for that? Like, wear that as a badge of honor for lack of a
Man, I
a better
would
term,
frame that case and put
It
it up
became a
on the-
popular case for us.
Yes. That one's good.
Footprints in the snow. It should be like hanging like at the entrance to PD with like a storyboard to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if he would have listened, to the instructions of not being out and about on the road.
That's true.
I mean,
That's true.
there was a reason why that was put out.
Yeah.
Protect the criminal as well.
When I've read or whatever, sometimes maybe the hardest cases to crack or the criminals that get lucky. What are you taking on the more difficult ones? What makes them difficult?
Probably the frauds.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason why is there's so much technology out there now.
Gotcha.
They can spoof phone numbers. They can spoof IP addresses. They can make fake websites. There's just so much that with the technology out there that criminals are able to use. And then a lot of times these frauds aren't actually coming from anybody in the United States. And once it gets out of the United States, when it comes to our subpoenas and our search warrants, we could send them to a company that is out of the United States, but they don't have to abide by it. So we're probably not going to get any information back. So yeah, the technology when it comes to frauds, it's rampant. Technology that the common street person can use.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a high school student teach me about VPNs when I was an SRO. I didn't know anything about VPNs. I had a high school student teach me that.
Yeah.
So these young people, they know their technology. They know the stuff they can do. They know how to spoof phone numbers and, like I said, IP addresses and websites and things like that. And within a matter of minutes to a few hours, a bank account can be drained.
Yeah. Wow.
And AI plays a big part in that now too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a new.
Trying to figure out what's real and not real. The things you see, especially when we work some cases, victim. When you have person-on-person crimes, what's real and not real.
Yeah.
What are some do's and don'ts for the community on that side of the world that the community may be able to, take on and use as advice when it comes to fraud?
Just don't. I mean,
I like it.
It's so easy to be defrauded, especially our elder population. They're getting a lot of money taken. They're losing their savings. And it's so rampant. You just can't trust it. If your bank's calling you, telling you need to give information, go to your bank.
Yeah.
Don't give any information over the phone. Even if I call a credit agency that I need to, pay a bill, and they say, well, we need to verify your social. No, you don't. I'm calling you, right? Who else is going to come pay your bill? I mean, I'd love for Ricky to come pay my bill,
Yeah.
but if I'm calling to pay a bill, why do I need to give you that information, your personal information? So don't trust it. One of the biggest things, and you guys know this too, that we do with our Cyber Week, is look at the IP addresses, look at the sender. You know, if you have something, say it was from Cigna, if it comes in and it's Cigna.com, you're looking more legit. But if you look at a lot of these that are asking for your information, saying you need to pay this bill or you're going to win this money, is you'll see at the end of the email address, it'll have letters and
extra digit,
Right.
What doesn't misspelling kind of stuff.
right, and none of that, and it'll be to a person. And a lot of times these are overseas companies that are frauding you. So pay extra attention, but don't give your information out. If at all possible, do it in person. That way you know who you're talking to. It's so easy to be defrauded now. The IRS is not going to call and ask you to make a payment. Sheriff's Department, the police department is not going to tell you you have a warrant for your arrest. Come in. We're going to come get you.
Yeah.
We don't call you and say, hey,
Yeah.
come in. We're just going to go to your house and get you.
City utilities.
Right, utilities, and it's horrible how much the elder population falls victim to that. And a lot of them are living off Social Security, and they're just being completely wiped out.
Yeah, wrapping up here, but what do you want? And we'll pose this to both you guys, but Kim, I'm going to start with you. Captain, what is the message you like our listeners to better understand?
I think for us, and with that one, I want people to understand that we are human, and that it's a lot of these cases that we work, especially in the criminal investigations division, it's taxing on us. We see a lot of things, and to understand that it's a process. We're not going to be able to solve every one, and make yourself as safe as you can, but also understand we are working as hard as we can. And just because it doesn't happen in the time frame that you think it should, doesn't mean we're not working it. It's a process. It takes time. When we do subpoenas on social media, it's very time consuming. We have to wait for them to get back with us. With banks, especially fraud cases with banks, sometimes it'll be almost a month before we get anything back from the bank.
Wow.
When we subpoena things. So we're working as hard as we can. We may not always be able to give you the outcome that you want, but know that we're putting everything we can into it.
And Sergeant, as we wrap up, are there any other is there any other advice or anything you could provide for the community that may be worthwhile to as part of this speaker that we have here for them to know?
Lock your car doors. We have a lot of entering autos in Thomasville. A lot of those crimes, they're not running up and busting windows. We do have that occasionally. But a lot of times it's actual people leave their car unlocked. They feel safe because they're parked at home, or they're parked in front of, say, work or a business that they know that they frequent on a regular basis. So they kind of fall into that lull of feeling safe, and they'll leave their car unlocked. But then we have juveniles, especially juveniles, that run around and that's all they do is they check car doors. They go in and they take anything of value that they can find in the car, and mainly firearms. You'll be surprised how many firearms get stolen out of unlocked vehicles. And a lot of times it's just somebody gets home from after a long day of work. They normally carry a firearm in their vehicle for safety, or for their job or something like that. And they get home after a long day of work, get out of the vehicle and walk in the house and just forget to hit the lock button on the little key fob, or they forget to lock the door when they step out of the car. Go in, don't think about it at all that night because they had a long day of work or something. Go out the next morning and either the door will be on or the dome light will be on, or they'll look in and see the car's been rummaged through, and then they'll call us and they realize their firearm's been stolen at that point.
And it's bad. Last month we worked 6 entering autos. Of them 6 entering autos we worked, that there was not a busted window. It was the doors were left unlocked. Of them 6, 5 of them had firearms in them that were stolen.
So
and now you have kids running around here with guns that have no clue what they're doing with them.
You know, that part, this topic is I moved from New York in '87 down to Tampa. And for the first time in my life, I encountered people that just consistently, like, it was a common thing. Like, you never locked your front door. You never locked your car door. And I was moving from New York where we used the old, what do you call it? It was the thing that you tied from the
The
steering
lock,
wheel.
the lock.
Yeah.
The
Steering
crowbar
lock.
or whatever, the steel bar thing.
Yeah.
And from the brake to the steering, I mean, you did all sorts of things over there, and you never, left it. And I lived in a relatively safe. I mean, I only had one person shot in my front yard. I mean, and I'm not kidding about that. But it wasn't like it was crime every minute on the block. I mean, that was an isolated incident. But when I moved, it was like, what? People leave their doors unlocked, and then fast forward, it's 2026, and we're still doing that.
Yes.
It's crazy to me.
Well, I think you need to go into also people who are selling them on the streets, and the person buys that gun, and you think you're getting a good deal. You can be charged too.
Yeah. So if you get caught later with the stolen firearm, you may not have been the individual that stole it. You may have bought it off the streets, and you'll be charged with a felony, with theft by receiving firearm, which automatically, anything that involves a firearm when it comes to theft, automatically becomes a felony. Even no matter the value of the item, it automatically becomes a felony. So I try to tell people, buying guns off the streets may seem like a good deal. There's a reason you're getting it at such a good deal.
Yeah.
Nobody sells a $700 firearm for $100, $200.
And you may not be purchasing it to take illegal action. You just may be purchasing it.
You may be purchasing it because either you're a collector or you wanted a firearm for home protection.
Yeah.
So
point.
you may buy it just with no criminal intent and then get caught with it and realize later on that you actually bought a stolen firearm.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to know. And again, wrapping up here with Sergeant Chris Baggett and Captain Kimberly Dyke. We just really appreciate you guys. We appreciate the police department and all the sacrifices that you guys make. It doesn't go unnoticed. And want to say a big shout and thanks to your families who sacrifice for y'all as well. I always like to include them as well, who support you guys in a difficult job but necessary job, and the things that you guys go through. Y'all have amazing families to support you guys, and we're thankful for you and your families. So, and with that, Ricky, take us to the next segment.
Yeah, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you guys as well. So thank you guys as well for being here, and thank you guys for everything that you do for our community, because my family lives in this community, and I have the deepest of respect for you guys and love what you guys do on a daily basis, and feel very secure that my family will be safe and protected in the hands of people like yourselves. So thank you for that. But as we wrap up things, and in honor of the bicentennial, our 2026 podcast will include a Thomasville History Did You Know segment. This information is generously provided to us by the Thomasville History Center. So, we ready, Austin?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Did you know that in 1848, the Fletcher Institute the Fletcher Institute, operated by the Methodist Church, opened in Thomasville, and where Harper Elementary currently stands.
And that would make sense, for that's Fletcherville, which
Correct.
was a community, now a neighborhood. So I tried to look it up to see, is the Fletcher Institute. I'm assuming it was an educational institute
It
of
was.
some sort. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, I did. You had to do a little bit of a deep dive. But,
There you go. All
but
right.
I did find a little bit. I
Was
did
it
some
like the-
CID work on
That's
it.
right. Was it like a women's college, or was it?
I
like
didn't do
a high
that deep.
school,
I just
or-
thought it was education. I
Okay,
stopped there.
that's
you
all
know.
you did. Okay, that's right. You
We'll save that for the next
You
segment.
can't be on CID, Ricky. You didn't.
Well,
go
no,
follow
got
those
it. Like
details.
we were told. Sometimes you got to hold things back, right? You got to hold
There
it
you go.
back.
It's
Hold
like
it
a
back.
Mets fan always falling short.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it must have been playoff time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just.
Yeah, I just looked at that strike, at that curveball, with bat on my side. So, but we got one more. In addition, in 1849, so just a year later, Baptists formally organized a religious organization in Thomasville and began plans to build a church.
Yeah, that's kind of. I don't know what the deal is of with the city being found in 1826. Like, I figured the churches would be popping right up, but maybe they just didn't organized formally until that time.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's
don't know,
the
it's
key
weird.
word, the formally.
Yep.
We do have down the road in our podcast schedule, we do have Ephraim scheduled to be here. Ephraim Rotter, the curator at the History Center. So I'm sure we'll have a load of questions
That's
for
right.
him. So Austin, keep all of your questions, on your friendly pamphlet where you keep all your notes, and save those off for Ephraim, because you're asking the wrong guy. You're asking the wrong Northerner. Right here to answer questions. Ask that Northerner to
There we
answer
go.
questions
That's
about
right.
the history of the South.
And also Mets fan.
And also Mets fan, yes, sir. So as we wrap up as well, just for our listeners, we've got some two great events going on here, sponsored by the city. On Saturday, March 14th, we will have at the Ritz Amphitheater, Family Movie Night will make its first appearance of 2026. It will be a showing of Lilo and Stitch. So Austin, make sure you're there. I believe you were in that movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I wasn't talented enough to
You
be
weren't?
Lilo.
You weren't?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's a cartoon. I mean,
Yeah.
they just got to replicate
which
you.
is the blue character? Is that Stitch or Lilo? Okay, I wasn't. Yeah, I tried out.
Oh,
I tried to be
I
Stitch.
said Lilo, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Lilo, right?
Lilo's the little girl. and
Okay, well,
Stitch is the
yeah.
alien.
I tried for both of those roles, and they did. They wouldn't.
Obviously, I didn't see that movie either because I
Yeah.
called it Lilo. And as well, obviously, family movie night, food vendors, lots of goodies. So make sure you set that on your calendar and be there in the next couple of days to enjoy a free family movie. Make sure you circle that date and you're there. And then to wrap the month up, we've got Easter Extravaganza. Easter is here, Austin. So Easter
Yes, indeed.
Extravaganza will take place at Weston Park on March 28th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. 6,000 stuffed eggs for the Easter egg hunt. You got to start stuffing pretty soon because you got a lot of eggs and stuff.
Is there any truth to the rumor that like you push little kids out of the way to get Easter eggs? I mean,
I get
I
pushed.
just heard that.
I get pushed.
Okay, you get pushed.
I
Little
get
kids
to,
push you.
I
down.
get to stand in the middle and count down. And there's no escaping because you're in the middle. So guess what? I no longer stand in the middle. I stand to the side.
That's right.
User error on the first time I ran the Easter Extravaganza. It was like, uh-oh.
They're all coming at you.
They're all coming at
That's
you.
awesome. You're gonna have a helmet and shoulder pads on this year.
No, stand to the side. Find the side to stand at. So 6,000 stuffed eggs, 200 golden eggs in honor of the bicentennial.
Awesome. All right. Well, Ricky, thank you for that. Again, thanks to the marketing department for putting that together. I know Ricky has a big hand in the Easter Extravaganza. And again, want to thank our audience for joining us and listening, putting up with us, and appreciate our guest as well. So I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app and tell your friends, and they too can listen to me and Ricky and make fun of us.
Please tell your friends.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to Thomasville Insights with the City of Thomasville. The show is produced by the City of Thomasville Marketing Department. The show's music is by pond5.com. To learn more about the City of Thomasville, visit thomasville.org or follow us on social media. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening app so you don't miss an episode. Thanks for listening.